What if I told you the triumph of Christianity wasn't a miracle? That it wasn't just faith that conquered the Roman Empire, but a brilliant political campaign, a few battlefield visions, and a complete rebranding of God himself. This is the story of how a persecuted sect rose from the shadows to become the official religion of the world's most powerful empire. But the story you think you know, it's not the full picture. We're about to uncover the ambition, the rivalries, and the theological showdowns that changed the world forever. The rise of Christianity is, without a doubt, one of the most dramatic transformations in history. How did a small, often misunderstood Jewish sect, starting with just a tiny group of followers, manage to capture the heart of an empire estimated at 60 million people? The traditional answer points to divine will, a story of faith against all odds. But that's only one piece of the puzzle. The real story is more like a historical detective novel, packed with political intrigue, social chaos, and some seriously calculated moves that laid the groundwork for a new world. To get to the truth, we have to look past the myths and into the complex world of ancient Rome, a place of gods and mortals, power and persecution. Before Christianity showed up, the Roman Empire was a religious free-for-all. Romans worshipped a huge pantheon of gods, many borrowed from the Greeks, and kept them happy with sacrifices and festivals and giant temples. Religion and politics were completely intertwined. Emperors like Julius Caesar were also the Pontifex Maximus, the head priest, and were often declared gods after they died. This imperial cult was a cornerstone of Roman identity. It was how you showed loyalty to the state. Then, from the province of Judea, came this new, strange faith. Early Christians were different. They didn't gather in massive temples. They met in small, private homes. And they flat out refused to sacrifice to the Roman gods. This wasn't just seen as impious. It was seen as antisocial, a threat to the community's well-being. This refusal bred suspicion, and wild rumors started to fly that Christians were cannibals who practiced incest, simply because their secret rituals, like the Eucharist, were misunderstood. That suspicion sometimes boiled over into persecution. Now, the Hollywood image of Christians hiding in catacombs for 300 years straight is an exaggeration. For the first couple of centuries, persecutions were often sporadic, local, and flared up during crises. The first really infamous, large-scale persecution was ordered by Emperor Nero after the Great Fire of Rome in 64 AD. But here's the twist. Even as they were targeted, the number of Christians kept growing. Why? Part of the answer lies in the very persecutions meant to crush them. The era before Christianity was legalized became known in Christian tradition as the Age of Martyrs. The word martyr itself comes from the Greek for witness. These public executions, which were supposed to be a terrifying warning, often had the opposite effect. Observers were stunned by the calm, even joyful way martyrs faced death. This courage made the new religion seem profoundly sincere. After all, people don't usually volunteer to be executed for a faith they don't truly believe in. As the 2nd century writer Tertullian famously put it, the blood of martyrs is the seed of the church, suggesting their sacrifice inspired others to convert. But it wasn't just the spectacle of martyrdom that drew people in. In the rigid class-based society of Rome, Christianity offered a radical message of equality. The Apostle Paul's declaration that in Christ there is neither Jew nor Greek, neither male nor female, neither slave nor free, was revolutionary. It was a message that hit home for the marginalized, the poor, slaves, and women who were offered a sense of dignity and hope that Roman society often denied them. And this wasn't just talk, it was backed by a powerful social structure. Early Christian communities acted like incredible support networks. They cared for widows, orphans, and the sick, creating a kind of social safety net. While some pagan groups and city guilds offered assistance, the scale and organization of Christian charity was unique. It was so effective that even the pagan emperor Julian, who later tried to stamp out Christianity, complained that the Christians were taking care of our poor, making the pagans look bad in comparison. On top of that, Christianity offered something many felt was slipping away: a sense of purpose. By the 3rd century, the Roman Empire was in an almost constant state of crisis, with civil wars, economic collapse, and invasions. The old gods didn't seem to be providing much stability or many answers. Christianity, with its promise of salvation and a personal relationship with a single, all-powerful God, was a compelling alternative. It grew steadily through social networks, friend to friend, family to family. Some modern scholars estimate that by the year 300, Christians might have made up 10% of the empire's population, a number still debated, but one that shows the faith had reached a critical mass. It was no longer a fringe sect, it was a force to be reckoned with. The real turning point for Christianity didn't come from a theologian or a missionary. It came from a Roman general fighting for control of the empire, Constantine. The story of his conversion is legendary. The night before a make-or-break battle in 312 CE, Constantine reportedly had a vision. Accounts differ, but the gist is that he saw a Christian symbol in the sky, a cross of light, with the words, "In this sign you shall conquer." He ordered his soldiers to paint the symbol on their shields, and after his victory, he gave all the credit to the Christian God. So, was this a genuine miracle or a stroke of political genius? Historians are still split. The truth is probably somewhere in the middle. Constantine's conversion wasn't a clean break. For years, his coins still featured pagan gods, especially Sol Invictus, the unconquered sun. He also kept the title of Pontifex Maximus, head of the pagan state religion. His triumphal arch in Rome, built to celebrate his victory, is covered in pagan imagery, with no clear Christian symbols to be found. Some historians argue Constantine saw Christianity as a brilliant unifying tool. The empire was fractured. By choosing the God of the Christians, a single, all-powerful deity, he could style himself as the chosen ruler of the one true God, rising above the bickering pantheon. Whatever his motives, the effect was revolutionary. In 313 CE, Constantine and his co-emperor issued the Edict of Milan. This landmark decree didn't make Christianity the official religion, but it did legalize it, officially ending all state-sponsored persecution. For the first time, Christians could worship openly. Constantine then started pouring imperial money into building huge churches, gave clergy tax breaks, and appointed Christians to powerful government jobs. Faith and power were officially in business together. Constantine's support was a game-changer, but it also exposed a new problem. Christians couldn't always agree with each other. The biggest fight was over Arianism, a teaching that claimed Jesus was a created being and not equal to God the Father. So in 325 CE, Constantine stepped in. He called together the First Council of Nicaea, bringing around 300 bishops from across the empire to sort things out. This was a wild moment in history. A Roman emperor presiding over a church council, making Christian doctrine a matter of state policy. The council rejected Arianism and produced the Nicene Creed, a statement of faith declaring that Christ was of one substance with the Father. This established an official, state-approved orthodoxy. The final step came a few decades later under Emperor Theodosius I. On February 27, 380 CE, he issued the Edict of Thessalonica. This decree made Nicene Christianity the one and only official state religion of the Roman Empire. It didn't just promote one faith, it effectively outlawed others.
The edict condemned non-Nicene Christians as foolish madmen and authorized their punishment.
Over the next few decades, new laws suppressed pagan practices, and the ancient temples were gradually abandoned or destroyed. The ancient Olympic Games, a religious festival tied to the old gods, were held for the last time around this period, with the traditional date cited as 393, though some scholars debate the exact year. In less than a century, Christianity had gone from a persecuted minority to the official, enforced religion of the empire. So how did Christianity take over the Roman Empire? The real story shows it wasn't a single event, but a perfect storm of social, political, and spiritual forces. It started from the ground up, with a message of hope and community that appealed to ordinary people in a crumbling world. The courage of martyrs gave it a powerful, viral authenticity. Then, from the top down, a politically brilliant emperor saw this growing movement as a way to unify his empire. Constantine's support gave Christianity the money and legitimacy it needed to go mainstream. Finally, his successors sealed the deal, turning a favored religion into an arm of the state and forging a new Christian Roman identity. The persecuted sect that began in the backwaters of Judea hadn't just survived the Roman Empire, it had inherited it. This incredible rise would forever change the course of Western civilization, creating a new world where the relationship between faith and power, first forged in the age of Constantine, would continue to shape history for thousands of years. The rise of Christianity was a tangled web of social appeal and political maneuvering. But what do you think was the single biggest factor? Was it the message of hope, the ambition of an emperor, or something else entirely? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and if you want to uncover more untold stories from history, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel.